Oh my God. That's a rib cage right there, right?
Rib cage, yep.
Here. All right.
Here.
It's wrapped in the chains, Ann. Oh, goddamn, that stinks.
I don't know if you could hear that, but it literally sounded like a little girl screaming for help. It was like, stop. What are you doing?
July 2023, a pair of magnet fishers went to a river in Rouge Park in Detroit, Michigan, hoping to catch fun treasures. It all went well until one of the guys suddenly caught onto a chained dead body. Here are YouTubers who accidentally found horrifying things. A girl lost in a cave.
We made it to the very end.
Yeah, you never know what you can find.
That's sick.
And this is pretty cool. This is like our own hideout, right?
This is our hideout.
No one else would even come here, so this is definitely a secret spot.
YouTuber Exploring with Josh, who describes himself as just a dude with a camera, was on a regular adventure trip on August 7th, 2016. Josh and his team usually video blog their explorations of abandoned places and buildings, sometimes in locations that turn out to be quite eerie. These adventures take them around the world, as they also visit natural monuments and interesting landscapes. Now this time they were going deep down into Ape Caves in Washington. Initially, the cave exuded a touristy site image, with crafted stairways, rails, and the like, but the situation quickly took a darker turn when the explorers found themselves on all fours, navigating through the most challenging sections. The most claustrophobic spaces forced them to crawl to reach the darkest and most distant end of the cave, and there, they would find something absolutely unexpected.
English?
I don't know if
you speak no English.
No?
Oh, okay.
Okay, come with us.
A little girl, alone and lost in the darkest corner of the caves, suddenly appears in front of the camera, looking all dazed and confused and doesn't seem to understand English. But let's trace their steps back a little bit, shall we? Had there been proper lighting, it would have been almost impossible to get lost in this type of cave, since the place is what's known as a lava tube, which is a natural geological formation that occurs when lava flows from volcanic eruptions and creates a tunnel-like structure. But alone in the dark, things were different for her. For the YouTubers, the visit was almost a pretty straightforward passage through the rocks, except for the small sections in which they had to duck and crawl. Now, seen from a little girl's perspective, the story's different. The place must feel way more intimidating and vast. We can only speculate that in an adventurous impulse, she detached from her parents and group to explore the most secluded areas, just like Josh and his team. But unlike Josh and his team, she did not have company and lighting.
Come on, come with
Tell
us.
their daughters up here is scared.
They don't speak. She doesn't speak English.
Speak English.
English.
It's okay.
It's all right.
After reaching the lost girl in the deepest point of the cave, that they ironically deemed as fit for a secret spot or a hideout, they used nonverbal communication to get to the girl and help her out of her nightmare. According to Josh, the girl's parents called her name through the cave after she was found, so once she heard her mother and father outside, she agreed to follow Josh and the other boys and made it out safely.
And I was like, wait a minute. I don't think she speaks English. It turns out she really didn't speak English at all. She's by herself, crawled the whole way in there by herself, no light.
It seemed kind of obvious that this story could have ended very differently if these guys hadn't been there exploring that dark cave. A little girl lost and alone in the dark, separated from everyone, even by a language barrier. She could have become a missing person, one to never be found again. A body wrapped in chains.
Oh my God.
GoPro, start recording.
No, don't.
No.
Cal?
Never mind.
Cal, come here.
I don't think it's any.
July 2023, a magnet fisherman and his team running the YouTube channel Motor City Magnet Fishers experienced a chilling moment when he unearthed what, at first sight, looked like something that could have been alive, maybe even a person. Now, these guys, who remain anonymous, were recording one of their usual magnet fishing videos. Now, this practice consists of using powerful magnets attached to ropes to fish metallic objects out of bodies of water like rivers, lakes, and ponds. He would usually throw the magnet into the water and drag it along the bottom, hoping to find and retrieve items like old coins, jewelry, tools, or even larger items like bicycles or discarded firearms. It's a really funny, innocent hobby, often compared to metal detecting on land. But this time, they found something way darker in this body of water within the limits of Rouge Park in Detroit, Michigan, and captured it all on his headcam. The magnet was attached to a heavy chain, and as the man lifted it, he uncovered a tightly chain-wrapped bag. He immediately knew something wasn't right with this. The video shows the man's sudden apprehension as he says,
It's either a dog or it's a person, dude.
No,
That's a rib cage right there, right?
Rib cage, yep.
Deer.
All right. I hope it's a deer, but it's wrapped in a chain, Zan.
Deer.
It's wrapped in a chain, Zan.
This startling find compelled him to halt his magnet fishing activities. Upon closer inspection, the overwhelming odor emanating from the bag confirmed the grim reality, prompting his exclamation.
That'd be a really big.
Oh, it stinks horribly bad. Oh, goddamn, that stinks.
So
Remarkably, the man and his crew had only been at the river for approximately 10 minutes, engaging in community cleanup efforts. When they made this gruesome discovery, the YouTuber was brave enough to half pull the bag up toward the bridge and take a picture of it so he can report it to authorities. Luckily for him and the team, instead of human remains, what they found was a dead dog covered with chains. The team then proceeded to discuss their next steps and pulled the remains out of the water, leaving them right next to the shore before reporting it to the authorities.
Yep, you're right. That is a collar.
GoPro, stop recording. Oh yeah, that is. Oh,
Yep.
the dog.
You know what?
I can see it.
I've seen that dog before.
So they would casually continue with their magnet fishing and then find a second handgun in the water. Just imagine the possibilities out here. How many unsolved crimes and murder weapons are actually down there? The woods of the lost ones.
Anyway, I'll cut right to the chase because I might die. Look what these f***ing are.
October 3rd, 2016, YouTuber Dateline420 uploaded a video in which he explored a part of the woods that he'd been to before. He thought this was just going to be another hike, visiting some known paths surrounded by nature and getting off trail just for the fun of exploring the area. But after reaching a secluded area, he saw something that he'd never seen before. At first, he thought he was walking into some kind of private property surrounded by no trespassing signs. That's what it looked like from a distance anyway. But upon further inspection, he realized that each of these white signs had a face and a name on it. They were missing person notices.
This one's from Georgia. And look at this. Like, look where the f- we are. Who the f- does something like this?
Now, with all these creepy signs surrounding him, the YouTuber obviously starts feeling unsafe, not knowing what sort of deranged mind could be behind these gruesome decor pieces, what their purpose is, or even if they're real. He just jumps to the conclusion that he might be in danger just for being there.
We have to get the f- out of here.
He's alone and unarmed, so he doesn't feel prepared in case there is an attack. He leaves this area and gets to safety without any issues. But he's still shaken up by what he just saw. Now it gets worse, as the doubt remained. Was any of it real? The pictures hanging from the trees were real. There's no doubt about it. But what about the people on them? Were those actual cases?
Look at that. These are just the ones that I've gone and close up. That I did close-ups of so far. Look at this. Look at this.
One might think that these pictures have nothing to do with missing people, but that couldn't be further away from the truth. A quick research shows that those names and pictures corresponded to real-life occurrences that took several different paths. For instance, among the names we can see in the video, we have Jennifer Kess, Susan Powell, Tara Grinstead, Derek Seehausen, Lauren Spearer, Jonathan Brackett, Brian Schaffer, and James Lewis. All these people went missing to never be found again, with some of them being declared legally dead. Other cases like Christopher Marcus Lampkins, Landon Orkutz, and Tim Bosma's ended tragically with their confirmed deaths. And a couple more cases were even weirder, if you will, since Brenda Heist and Laura Mary Nimbach were later found living as homeless people. So the YouTuber even posted a second video showing how he revisited the place with a plan in mind this time. He wanted to get an accurate location on Google Maps so he can share it with the police and kickstart an investigation. In the process, he shows a fire pit, a suspicious-looking tent, a blanket, and some kind of handmade cage or human-built trap. He thinks that someone must have gone through a lot of trouble to put these things up, and wonders if they left any fingerprints that could lead to an arrest. But as Brenda Heist's case proves, whoever was behind the gruesome act of decorating the woods wasn't precisely up to date with the developments of each case. So there's always the possibility of this being an elaborate hoax put together by some prankster without any real criteria or background checks on the cases. Kudos to Dateline420 for having the courage to get footage of that godforsaken place. A missing pregnant woman. Samantha Hopper's cold case.
She said, I'm going to take Courtney to her daddy, Les. And I said, okay. That's the last I saw of her.
December 2021, YouTuber Adventures with Purpose made a chilling discovery in one of their many endeavors for bringing closure to families suffering from the nightmare of having a relative's disappearance listed as a cold case. In this instance, they would put an end to the uncertainty of a family who had lost a woman by the name of Samantha Hopper 2 decades before. Now, this YouTube group describes itself as a dive team that performs underwater searches for missing people. They do it as a hobby and provide help free of charge for families and law enforcement, and have solved more than 50 missing persons cases on their own. Bravo! They were contacted by Samantha's family once they knew about the service they provided, and the team decided to resume the search almost 23 years after the last time Samantha was seen. September 11th, 1998, Samantha Hopper, a 23-year-old mother, disappeared without a trace. She was last seen in Russellville, Arkansas, and was 8 months pregnant with her second child. Samantha had told her mother that she, along with her 22-month-old daughter and a friend, were going to a concert in Little Rock and would be back the next day. However, she never returned home, leaving her family in anguish and searching for answers. 23 years later, Adventures with Purpose came into the picture.
Bring me back to, she worked at Waffle House.
Yeah. Yes.
Was her check ready so that she may have been going to Waffle House after she left Les's house?
Now, the woman was last seen when she left her friend Les's house in West Memphis. She had dropped off her 18-month-old daughter, Desiree, at her mother's house in Mill Creek before heading to Les's house. From there, Samantha was supposed to go to the Waffle House where she worked, but there's no evidence to confirm whether she made it there. It's believed that Samantha intended to spend the night with her boyfriend, Scotty, in Little Rock, as she had done in the past, but she never made it there either. Her family launched an extensive search effort to find her. They enlisted the help of law enforcement, volunteers, and search and rescue teams. The search focused on areas Samantha was known to frequent and places she might have traveled to. However, despite the tireless efforts of the search teams, Samantha's whereabouts remained unknown for over 2 decades.
So with this body of water here, has this body of water been there the entire time?
Yeah.
Okay, so we may want to take a look at that.
Okay.
In an interview with Samantha's family and friends, the YouTuber tried to understand her driving habits and learn about her usual routes in, out, and around town as he tried to put together a list of possible locations. The information he got and a comprehensive look at the available roads and bodies of water left him with a couple of possibilities worth investigating. He decided it wouldn't be wise to discard any of them before a thorough dive.
So really we have 2 main bodies of water off of Pleasant View or Mill Creek.
Yeah.
Equipped with sonar to scan the bottom of the water, the team got on board a rubber boat and started scanning around at a location called Road Mill, a long-shaped lake crossed by a couple of bridges. Now, the device provided a crystal clear reading of the bottom, and according to their expertise, it should be clear as day if a car was sunken in that water, no matter how much time had passed since the incident. Nevertheless, they saw nothing but fish. But then they received a call. The second team that examined the second body of water near Pleasantville Road had seen a small car sunken upside down. They had some diving to do, so the family was called to the site and they explained the situation to them.
Please remain optimistic, but until I get into the water,
get in the water.
yes, we don't know. If there's a 4 tempo there,
You're going to know.
yes. Right.
With the help of a powerful magnet, just like the one we saw before with the dog, they gave the diver a straight line to follow toward the vehicle. After a quick dive with little visibility, the diver communicated he was able to identify the car as one matching the description of Samantha's old blue Ford Tempo, even though they couldn't find its plate.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Oh my gosh. How crazy is that we found that so quick and it's been all these years?
What followed was a powerful and sentimental moment in which the family was flushed with emotion as they finally received a positive identification of Samantha's vehicle. The hardest part was yet to come, so they informed the authorities to assist with the car's retrieval, and the Russellville Police Department got to the place to work with them.
Doc, I don't know whether it was the left or right or what shoe it was, but within the sock, you had some human remains left inside the sock.
Okay.
So that's where I was able to give you confirmation.
After requesting a crane and coordinating the difficult retrieval maneuver with the police, they were able to take the car out of the bottom of the lake, and that's when they discovered the hefty truth. Samantha Hopper and her unborn baby were there. 23 years later, they had finally been found. A blood-chilling collection of screams in the woods.
We never thought we would be making a video like this, and at the time, we had no idea what we had even witnessed.
September 4th, 2017, Damascus, Maryland. YouTubers from the channel Ireland Boys Productions teamed up with their counterparts from the Sam and Colby channel. They came up with a plan for their crazy collab where they would visit the Forest Haven Insane Asylum right outside Washington, D.C. This urban exploration idea came to them after they found out that the rumors about this place pointed to a crazy backstory. Over 100 people died in this asylum after the place was overcrowded and ultimately bankrupt. So they thought the place had it all for a #Urbex adventure. Maybe they could capture something dark around this place. And that's exactly what they did.
It's been closed for like 30 years, but they still have security patrolling the area. So once we get closer towards the actual insane asylum, we gotta start being quieter and quieter.
After a quick incursion into one of the abandoned buildings, their exploration started. They basically explored around this place, going from wrecked room to wrecked room and taking notice of any unusual items they could find along the way. They were also bothered by the presence of a couple of other people who were seemingly hanging around that place and throwing rocks at the building. They were tense, and they were already dealing with the possibility of running into private guards.
It's that big building that we saw earlier, but that road is apparently guarded by guards, and Kobe just saw one, that's why we just ran, so we're gonna have to try to sneak in there without getting caught.
The asylum visit comprised all the eerie and disturbing elements you'd expect to find in a kind of place like this, and this kind of YouTube channel. Abandoned facilities with signs of past break-ins and traces of the suffering from people who went through this place. Things got heated for a moment when the YouTubers heard police sirens closing in and feared an encounter with the cops since they were trespassing. They started feeling the place and, according to the YouTuber named Colby, they saw a couple of girls and a guy in the distance, but they made nothing special out of that sighting.
There's a helicopter with searchlights. I don't know if it's looking for us or legit.
There was definitely some serious police activity going on, since they even saw the chopper make a quick flyby. Fearing the consequences of their trespassing, the whole group proceeded to escape running through the dark forests.
This way, it's coming from there. You hear that? Get out of here! Go! Run! Get out, bro! Are you kidding me?
In the end, it wouldn't even matter if they captured something creepy or supernatural inside the asylum or not. The actual horror was something more tangible and real. It came from the woods, and it reclaimed some poor woman's life as a sacrifice. The night was suddenly filled with the chilling screams of a woman who sounded as if she was certain she was about to die. These YouTubers always had the intention of capturing something dark and eerie. They wanted to go viral, didn't they? Well, life put them in the wrong place at the right time just so they could witness actual death, even if only from a seemingly safe distance.
Guys, we made it to the storage spot. I don't know if you could hear that, but it literally sounded like a little girl screaming for help. It was like, stop, what are you doing?
September 13th, 2017. Only 9 days after the events captured on the viral video, 31-year-old Laura Wallen's body was found in a shallow grave in a field. Wallen was a popular teacher in Olney, Maryland, and was 4 months pregnant when she went missing. The investigation revealed she was brutally killed by a shot in the back of the head, and her boyfriend Tyler Tessier was charged with first-degree murder, altering evidence, and obstruction of justice after he made false statements to the police and faked commotion in front of a media outlet.
Doesn't matter what type of trouble, there's nothing we can't fix together.
2 days later, police would find Laura's body buried in a shallow grave in a field belonging to a friend of Tessier's.
In 2018, Tessier was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, and eventually took his own life in prison. A satanic ritual and a gruesome discovery. When you go to Mexico, let's just say there's a lot of places you should stay away from, and this is one of them.
Hay vasos, ahí hay otro huevo. Hay muchísimas cosas aquí, amigo. Allá viene un coche. Uy, qué nervios porque me van a ver.
April 2002, Mexican YouTuber Fernan Vlogs was following a suspicious trail of items next to a highway. He either expected to find some kind of paranormal activity or run away if he spotted any signals of dangerous people or illegal activity. In a video now deleted by YouTube due to its graphic nature and re-uploaded after some censoring, he showed the world his chilling discovery. The horror movie scenario starts with Fer exploring the outskirts of Puebla in Mexico. A highway across the mountain borders some little caves caves used by the local powers with sinister intentions. With his scarce knowledge about the place, Fur was in curious mode. Maybe he'd hit the jackpot and capture some kind of paranormal activity footage. But no, he was about to find something way more shocking than any ghost, witch, or supernatural entity. He quickly stumbled upon the cave and started noticing strange objects placed all around.
Son como veladoras, un ramo de flores. Hay un gallo allá adentro, amigos, porque miren, ahí se alcanzan a ver las plumas.
We had rotten eggs on the ground, discarded cups, and half-burned red candles. This guy with his latex gloves ventured into touching a bunch of fabrics suspiciously rolled up in what appeared to be flowers, but when he unfolded that, he found some yellow candles, plants, and the remains of what appeared to be a rooster, feathers and all. He found this to be very weird. He seemed to be more interested in capturing a general sense of what surrounded him, worried that he may encounter a snake or maybe some other wild animal.
Que hay más veladoras, miren. Todo está lleno de velas. Vamos a ver un poco más adentro. Ahí se alcanza a ver una cucaracha. Miren aquí cuánta cera hay.
He quickly discovered that insects were the least of his worries. And as he took a look at the walls on the cave, it became evident that people had been doing nasty things in here. We had burned candles all around. The place was completely decorated with wax, like some sort of crazy ritual was going on here. Now it's not clear why he aborted his mission at the time. Maybe he was worried someone might have seen him looking around, but at this point he just left the place. But of course it doesn't end here. This man needs to know more about this place, and he's convinced that some kind of dark witchcraft was happening here. And as he came back just after midnight to further explore this place, after stopping for a moment to take in the severity of the situation, he showed how the road was absolutely deserted and gave us a not-so-comforting piece of intel. The locals call this place the Devil's Cave. So he drives to this place, parks his car, and puts on those latex gloves because safety first. It's really wild to hear and see how he casually comments on finding a cave full of witchcraft-related signals, just as he films a lit candle in that cave. How long has that been lit for? As soon as he started walking down the river and toward the cave, someone seemed to drive by.
Y también con la gente que luego viene aquí a hacer sus cosas. Allá va alguien, miren.
Instead of getting immediately out of this place, he was quickly lured into the darkness by all the things he found lying on the ground. Beside the candles and things he found before, he now finds some cigarettes and a suspicious white powder on the ground. Innocently, he identifies that white powder as flour. Not our best guess given the context, if you ask. Upon further inspection of the cave's wall, he found a whole set of unburned candles. This guy needed another confirmation of someone having recently visited the place. This was it. But this guy's curiosity was stronger. He casually grabbed a mysterious object wrapped in white paper to discover what looked like dirty Q-tips. He assessed the temperature around him and read the information on the burning candle.
Veladora esotérica contra envidia y para el amor. Hace bastante calor aquí, huele muy mal. ¿Se cansan a ver?
Many of us would have ran if we saw a blood-stained styrofoam cooler, but not fair. No. Despite the horrible stench, he decides to open it. He expected to find just a dead rooster, like he did the last time. He never thought he would uncover the most haunting image he wasn't ready to see.
¿Puede haber algún gallo?
This was followed by a couple of seconds of intense silence as he opened the cooler's lid and uncovered the horror.
Diablos, amigos. ¿Qué es eso? ¿Eso es una cabeza humana? ¿O qué diablos es?
A frantic sprint to the car still parked on the highway was the only possible exit after his fight-or-flight mechanism was set in motion, unsure steps, heavy breathing, and incoherent rambling.
No vayan a pensar que soy yo el que puse eso ahí.
We can even hear the man sobbing in shock as he drove away from this cave. The dark road ahead, the closest town 40 minutes away, and no cell signal. Completely horror movie scenario for the YouTuber, who didn't hesitate to recognize the terror he was feeling. 2 hours after his last urban exploration adventure, he finally managed to compose himself and pulled over to find a police checkpoint. After a hasty recount of the events and a gruesome finding, our man got a chillingly casual response from the officer.
Sí, pero ahorita mando otra unidad, pero váyase de aquí porque hay muchos narcos y puede tener muchos problemas.
¿Hay narcos?
Sí, hay bastantes narcos por aquí.
Muy bien.
Mejor retírese de aquí porque puede tener muchos problemas.
Now, we can only speculate the YouTuber crossed paths with some variant of practitioners belonging to Los Narcos Satánicos, or the Narco Satanists, a notorious drug trafficking and a cult that was active in Mexico. Just when you thought a cartel couldn't get worse, now these believe in Satan. After this life-altering incident, YouTuber Fernand Vlogs ceased to attempt any new urban exploration adventures and just left his country, relocating to the US, where he would change the type of content he uploaded. We can only imagine what kind of real-world developments took place in his life after this close encounter with the dark forces of occult crime.